Welcome to my January 2025 journal flip through. For January, I used two journals, the Hobonichi Techo Cousin and a dupe that was found on Amazon for the Hobonichi Weeks. So, for this journal, I use it mainly to track health and spending and meals. And this journal I use as an everyday journal but also as a functional planner. So first I'll get into this one. So this is a dupe for the Hobonichi weeks. This one I decorated with the sun, stars and the moon. I have never had a Hobonichi before, but I looked at reviews on TikTok and most of them would have said that this is a good dupe for it. So, because there are pages that are similar to the Hobonichi weeks. So for this particular spread, I use it to track my spending. So I plan to do that for the entire year. So I intend to budget for the rest of the year, but January I wanted to not budget as much and see how I would have spent it. But for example, this week here I was not able to track, and even though I did feel a bit guilty about not being able to do it properly, I still logged it. Didn't track. Because I know with these journals we strive for perfection, and when we skip out months or days, we eat up ourselves or we get in our heads about it, but that's still okay. So on the monthly page, it's more of a breakdown of the same thing that I did here, but this was January 2025, of course. But in in February, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think for this page, I'm not gonna track budget because it's a bit redundant to do it in two different spreads. So I'm gonna keep this one to track spending, and then I'm gonna use this monthly spread to track period and steps. And I think it's okay to change, especially how I have never used it before. It's okay to play with the format and to find what works for you. And this is working for me right now, trying different things each month since it's the first year that I'm using it to figure out what works for me. And when we go into the daily pages, I believe that this particularly I liked doing this, and I think I'm gonna stick with this throughout the year. So on the left side, it's tracking meals. On the right side, tracking events that might hamper. So I'm trying to have a lifestyle change, and I believe that tracking meals and mood and everything is gonna help me to achieve where I want to be. So on the left side, I'm tracking my meals, and on Sundays is when I usually plan this, and I would write down unexpected and planned events, so things that I know might happen during the week that may upset me trying to eat healthy, so that I know from before when I'm planning meals, or when I'm like, if I try to get hard on myself for not eating healthy, I know from beforehand that it's coming up. So I'm trying to change my the way I think about food in that way, that if there's something fun going on or an event going on, I'm not going to be tracking on that day, or I'm not going to be hard on myself for not eating healthy on that day. So I track that. I'm tracking weight as well, and also a reflection of the week, whether I was happy with how the week went, the choices that I made, and how my body felt. So this is week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. The only thing that I changed from week to week is that I tracked. Initially I wanted to track certain things in the Hobonichi cousin, but then when I did it, I didn't like it, so I put it in this book. So I added habit trackers. So same tracking events and reflection and weight and everything, but also I like having this habit trackers in the weeks rather than the cousin. So yeah, and this is my setup for February week 1. I believe that I am going to add some more decorations to the page for week 1 and so on and so forth. So that is it for my Hobonichi dupe, or just my weekly planner. So that's this one, and then with the cousin, I am really enjoying using this one. So I've seen people on different social medias not use certain pages, but I am using all of the pages or all of the sections in this book to track something. The thing that I'm trying to figure out now is how to use the pages at the back, because I want to fill the entire thing this year. So, starting from the front cover, these are some drawings that I did of myself. But when I printed it, it came out a little darker than I wanted it to. This is a little reflective thing from a sticker pack that I got. Just storing these things in here. So, alright, so I'm not sure what this page is called, Year at a Glance or what, but I'm using this in particular to track my moods. So what I want to do, so this is January and I already set up February. What I want to do with each month is that I want to change the shape that I use on the grid. So for January I use a square, February I'm using circles, March I'll change it, April, May, June, and so on and so forth. I actually like to do this, and I want to associate how my mood affects the way I feel and the way I eat. So using this in tandem with the other journal that I just showed is helping with my habits, my healthy habits. So this book starts in December, as most of you know, and I had a very busy December, and I was so excited to track that last month in this book. And I love, as you could see, I love decoration. It was I really enjoyed it. Right, so going from December into January. January I was a bit more nervous about what to do, how to decorate it, and I wanted to go with a theme, and I ended up choosing the theme based on the sticker pack that I had that used light pink and light blue. This particular sticker was the inspiration for the entire color scheme. So what I did here was I tracked work days, sick days, meetings, different social events that we had. In Trinidad and Tobago, we call a hangout a lime. So anytime you see lime, that's what it means. So there were lots of different social activities, a lot of birthdays, a lot of events that I partake in this month. So this month was also busy, going to the beach. Also, this column here I'm using to track my achievements. So there were a lot of achievements that I accomplished in January: losing 7 pounds, exercising most of the days, eating healthy, going to the beach, feeling motivated. And if you know me personally, you would know these achievements are huge in my life, especially because I'm someone who almost always feels, I don't want to use the word lazy, but lazy or unmotivated, and not eating healthy and stuff. So these achievements were huge for me. And just to give a preview of February, I already decorated for February. What I want to try to do for the next month is to try to do it on camera. But again, the same sticker pack I used had this pastel pink, and this is what I used to base my color scheme on for this month. Also, I bought this pack that had different heart-shaped things in it. I just knew I wanted to use it for February, for Valentine's Day, Valentine's month this year. So that was the inspiration, really. When it's finished next month, I will be sure to share it. So moving on to the weekly pages. These are the pages that I had the hardest time figuring out what to do with them, especially because I believe that some of the pages overlap in this book. So sometimes you want to track something on the at a glance, but then you already tracked it on the weekly page, and then there's the daily pages. So for me, it was trying to figure out what to do where. On January, the first week of January, how I tracked it here, I didn't really like what I did, and I changed it up as the weeks went by. So here I thought I wanted to do like to-do list, checking off things, and what was the issue with that is that sometimes I would not complete something and it would do it another day, and I already wrote it in pen and I didn't want to scratch it off. So I said maybe I would draw arrows to signify that I did it on the other day. But I still didn't like that, and then sometimes plans were not final, and because of the change in dynamic of it, and because I personally want my book to look right, because I want my book to look neat and I don't want it to have to scratch a lot. I don't think that method was working for me, where I wrote to do this and wrote plans that were going to change and all of that. So if I have an event, what I would do is that I would write it in pencil, and on the evening, or if it happened and I'm writing in this book the night after the event happened, then I would write it in pen. So planning in pencil for events, and then after it's finished, write it in pen. So that's week 1. This is week 2. I really like this one. I like the stickers that I used. I like the color scheme. It's different for me, because you don't really see these colors together. Well, yellow and blue, yes, but yellow, blue, red, pink, like this array of colors, you don't really see together. And of course, with each one there's like a sticker or something that shouts out to me, that makes me feel inspired to use it for the entire spread. And it was this bouquet of flowers here. And this is week 3. This is more of an alligator swampy theme. What I want to do, so as you could see, as the weeks go by, I changed the format of it, tracking work, when I exercise, events, and what I think I forgot to mention this one. I like tracking highlights at the bottom, at the bottom of the page. So sectioning off from 12 o'clock go down. I'm usually sleeping by that time, so there's nothing that's going to be tracked there. So I use that part to put the highlights of my day. And the highlights, actually I like this because sometimes you don't want to read through your daily pages every day to find out what happened. So I like to go back. Even for this month, I've been going back and reading my highlights of each day, and then it takes me straight back to that day instead of having to read the entire thing. Of course, there will be a time that you want to read over your daily pages, but sometimes just having this highlight is really, really good for reflection. So this is week 4, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. This theme was fruit. And I threw in a little sushi because I went to eat sushi. So fruits and food and milk. And then this is the week that passed, the last week of January. I tried to do like a strawberry and cherry theme. And some people may have noticed that I like to border my pages with washi tape. So this one I realized that I forgot to put it at the top, but I did include these cute cats at the top with the cherries. And then this is my setup for the first week of February. And I haven't written in any events or any schedule as yet, but in the next month I will be sure to share that. So going from there to this is my vision board page, and my word for the year, and also the 6 goals that I want to work on for 2025. I think keeping it at 6 is fine, because the more goals that you have, the more, especially if you know you're not a person that usually keeps on track or is motivated a lot, I think having a list of 20 goals is too much. So my word of the year is wellness, and I am only focusing on these 6 goals for the year. So all of them I may not be able to achieve. So I started off with healthier choices in January, but budgeting I did not start off with. Creativity is growing fine. Law of attraction is something that I have. This is something I want to work on. It was not a focus in January. Organized person, that's something I'm going to work on. And self-love is something that I practice. But I think I like how I did it there. Normally I would do something bigger on a poster, but because I go into this book every day, I think that this is the best way for me to keep seeing what I want to do. Right? So from there we go into January, and I have watched a lot of videos about people pre-planning this page, and then I've seen people do or reflect on this page at the end of the month. And what I decided to do, instead of printing pictures every day to stick on daily pages, I collecting all of the pictures from all of the things that happened in the month, and using the page at the beginning of the month to have like a bit of a reflection of that month. And so then when I'm flipping through in the future, when I see this page, I could remember exactly what happened, and then the stories related to the events are attached to each page. So this is my highlight reel, I guess, or my pictures of everything, or most of the things, not everything, that happened in January. So from January straight into New Year's, right? And I printed this, so this is something that I found on Pinterest, and I printed it on sticker paper, cut it out. It was really tough to cut out all the spaces in between the letters, but I liked, from the time I saw it, I know that that's what I was going to do, and that's how I was going to start my year. So moving on, and again, I never used a Hobonichi cousin before, so January was me trying to figure out my style of what I like to do. So at first I thought that I wanted to go simple. So you would see that I tried the minimal decorations, and I liked it. But I think that as the month progressed, I realized that I wanted to add more washi tape, more stickers, more pictures. So for the example, pictures I found on Pinterest that I printed and created a little sticker of it, wanted to include more of those. So I was still going simple, and then a lot of the pages I believe I started to ramp it up with the decoration. For this example, I was watching a vlog on YouTube, and the person talked about the fruits of the spirit, and I was like, I have fruit stickers. I'm gonna find them and base my decorations based on just hearing that one person talk about it. Also, what I like to do, I like to retell the day at the top. If the day is busy, the entire spread is just retelling what happened on the day. But if the day is not so busy, I'll do a short recap on the top and then a prompt at the bottom. Because I want to fill up my pages, I don't really want to have empty spaces at the bottom. So another thing that I've been doing is adding sticky notes, and then, so like for example, some days are not it is eventful but not much to write about. So I would include sticky notes to take up the space and just add in quotes or stuff like that. So that's normal. Right. I don't really use neutral colors for spreads, but I liked how I used this pastel orange tan color for this spread. I enjoyed it. So from this simple page, going on to this page, the reason why I use this is because I believe I made a mistake and I wanted to cover it up. But this is one of my favorite spreads because it challenged me to be a little more creative. So first I did this page and then I matched this page. These are stickers that I also made from finding pictures on Pinterest. Right. This is probably gonna say most of them are my favorite spreads, but I really did like this spread. Mint chocolate chip. And I want to see Mufasa in cinema, and weirdly remember that I had Lion King stickers, so it came together really well. There was something that I covered up here. And it's because I didn't like how my handwriting looked. But in the future, I don't want to be so hard with myself and keep mistakes just how they are, instead of covering them up. So in Sunday, and this week I decided I'm gonna be doing different highlight words, but I'm not too sure if I'm gonna continue to do that in every single spread. It was good for the day or the moment, but I'm not sure about that. So going on to January 20th, keeping the same. A lot of the spreads I realized that I kept washi tape at the bottom and more decorations in between. And I like to say that any page where you see a lot of writing is probably a day that was very difficult, or I was anxious, or I had a lot to debrief myself on, because I usually write during the night. So right, moving on. I like these DIY. So these were balloon stickers, and I added drawn in the balloon strings with colored pencils. And this is the end of January. I did a January recap at the end. Wasn't pretty long, but I think that I'm going to do that at the end of every month from now on, especially with these big graphics. And then, so going into February, this is where, so I already wrote my spread for Saturday, and that's where it ends. The only other thing that I did is that I started, so I'm using one of the grid pages at the end to test pens. Before I write, I would test and see which one is bleeding through, and then the other page that I used at the back, or started to use, was the 100 page. I'm going to start writing down movies that I looked at, so I put something in pencil here: media, books, movies, new songs. So that's what I'm going to track for this year. So these are my 2 books, and I'm enjoying using them, and I look forward to sharing my February flip through with you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.